I know this part I found fascinating because I saw the connection to Psalm 154 and 155. So in Enoch 89, 14 through 17, it says, Then began the wild beasts and birds to bring forth. Of all these, the different kinds assembled together: lions, tigers, wolves, dogs, wild boars, foxes, rabbits, and the Hanzar, the Sisset, the Avest, kites, the Fonkas, the ravens. Then the white cow was born in the midst of them.
In the
So I'm
midst of
looking, right? In the midst of all this, we see Abraham, right? The one, right, who's set apart. But what I found fascinating was this connection to Psalm 154 and 155, which I wouldn't even know existed if I didn't have a Sefer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I would have never known, right? And so this is what I saw in that. Let me get it there. It says this, I just put part of 154, but all of it's really interesting and pertinent. But I just printed verses 4 and 6. Have pity, O Yahweh, and save your Holy One from destruction, that he may rehearse your glories in all his times, and may praise your great name. When you have delivered him from the hands of the destroying lion and of the ravening wolf, and when you have rescued my captivity from the hands of the wild beast, quickly, O Adonai, send from before you a deliverer and draw me out of the gaping pit, which imprisons me in its depths, right? And I'm thinking that's probably the Tahom, the abyss, right? So what blew my mind with this was thinking of Yahusha, you know, descending down into the pit for 3 days and 3 nights.
Yeah, there you go. And take a
And
look at this too.
yeah,
Deliver me from the hands of the destroying lion. And who's the lion? That's Judah. The
yeah,
ravening wolf. And who's the ravening wolf? That's Benjamin.
right.
And
Yeah,
who are the excuse me. who are the residents of Jerusalem at the time of Mashiach?
at that time, the southern kingdom, which was Yehuda, Benjamin, the half tribe of Manasseh, and a lot of Levites, I'm sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah,
And so here he's saying, and when you have rescued my captivity from the hands of the wild beasts. Now, the
right.
wild beasts are what you might call the goyim,
Yeah,
the ethnos, if you will. But these are other people, the wild beasts. And who was described as a wild beast? Ishmael was described as a
yeah,
wild beast, right?
yeah,
And his 12 sons, right? Yeah.
right. Yeah. So it goes on in Psalm 155. Praise you, Yahweh, all ye nations, glorify him and bless his name, who rescued the soul of his elect from the hands of death, and delivered his Holy One from destruction, and saved me from the nets of Sheol, and my
Mm,
soul from the pit that cannot be fathomed. Because
mhm.
before my deliverance could go forth from before him, I was almost rent in two pieces by two wild beasts. But he sent his angel and shut up from me the gaping mouths, and rescued my life from destruction. My soul shall glorify him and exalt him, because of all his kindnesses which he has done and will do unto me. Now look at this, Dr. Pigeon. This was really interesting. It's here in Mark 1. So this beautiful psalm gives us more clarification about the short passage in Mark in which the wild beast attacked our Mashiach. It's in Mark 1:11 through 13. And there came a voice from heaven saying, You are my Yesid, in whom I am well pleased. And immediately the Ruach drives him into the wilderness. And he was there in the wilderness 40 days, tempted of Satan, and was with the wild beast. And the angels ministered unto him.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, yeah. And again, was with the wild beast. And again, I think this points to him being among the tribes of Ishmael.
Yeah,
This is where
yeah,
he had gone. And so were they being, they were going to tear him apart. But he was ministered by angels or by messengers who had ministered to him. And
yeah.
yeah, very, very, very fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
funny.
thought that was
together.
Yeah. I just thought that was a pretty interesting connection there. That was that's kind of how I went into just this a little bit about the wild beast in Hebrew, so that we could see what it was.
Sedeh, yeah.
Yeah.
Residents of the field, cultivated land, home of wild beasts, the plain as opposed to the mountain. Yeah. Primitive root in the etymology. Yeah. Beast being
Yeah.
in the land. Yeah. Now this is interesting because when you talk about this Sedeh, when you look at the passage, the so-called red heifer, right? The word there
Right.
is not red, it's Adamah, of the land, of the field, the beast of the field, the cow of the field, right? Very,
Right.
very much different. Yeah, that's very fascinating. And again, where did the house of Ishmael go? Now, we've been looking at this. We've spent a great deal of time actually looking at the geography of things. And I was just I'm going to be doing a program tonight on demons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be called Unleashing the Demons.
Yeah. And just for any audience, just in case you don't know, just look on YouTube, and it's Dr. Pigeon's channel is just called Stephen Pigeon, and you'll be right there. Got a regular Thursday night program.
Yeah, and so this one is going to be loaded for bear, Unleashing the Demons. But when you look at the name for demons in the Hebrew, right, you have some very interesting words. Shedim, Shedah, Shedim. This is one of the words for demons, and the unleashing of the demons is really well. I won't get into too much detail on it, but suffice it to say that when you're talking about this idea of being out in the field and him going out into the field and being tempted by these wild beasts and
Right.
this kind of thing, we can see that. This particular psalm is giving us is harmonizing this whole deal, and I've lost track of where I was going with this demon thing I was going to talk about. It's because I can't remember the other name of the demons. But needless to say, there is a discussion of the demons both in the ancient Old Testament and in the New Testament. And the Greek words, are very specific about the demons. And, for Mashiach to be tempted in the wilderness at this time of being cast out into Satan. I was talking about the geography. We know in the geography a couple of things. One, I know what the other name of the demon was. Sair.
Ah, yeah.
It's funny.
Which is a reference back to Esau.
Yeah, it's funny how this was blocked in my mind. But Esau lived at Mount Sair, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Sair is this goat demon, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Baphomet we also know by. Pan is another name for him, but it's a goat demon. And this was the demon worshipped by the Knights Templar, by the way, the Baphomet. And at any rate, so Esau was hanging out at Mount Sair. And we're told, and everybody believes this, again, this is one of the lies that is told to us in the Christian church, that Esau was down in Jordan, down there around Petra. This is where Esau was. There's no mountains down there. There's some rolling hills. There's no mountains down there. There's only one mountain of any significance in the Levant at all, and that's Mount Hermon.
Hermon.
And it rises up to 9,000 feet. It's got a little snow. It's got a little ski resort up there. The UN is at the very top of that mountain because that's where they can transmit everything. And they also believe that that's a portal.
Wow. Yeah.
And so at any rate, Esau, Edomaiah, the Edomite kingdom, was from Mount Sair. Now you say, well, is that really Mount Sair? Well, Mount Sair is located in Syria. We call it Syria today because we want to try to blend it with Assyria, which was actually Ashur, but it's right. Syria, and it is the home of Mount Sair, the home of the demons.
Wow.
Very important part of this. So anyway, the Edomite kingdom, the Edomaiah, rolling down there. And when you see Mashiach, he's dealing with these people in the gospel. Now, the Pharisees say something quite interesting to him. He says, well, I know who my father was. You don't know who your father was. You were born out of wedlock, blah, 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 right? We know who our father was. Our father was Abraham. And Mashiach says, yes, your father was Abraham, but I tell you, your true father is the devil. And they turn around and say, look, our father was Abraham, and we have never been in bondage to any man. Well, that is a very critical point, because what about Yasharel?
Right.
Telling Mashiach, we are not of the house of Yasharel. We are not any of these 12 tribes. We are
Right.
sons of Abraham, but we are not any of these 12 tribes. Now, now this is going to get a little more, right? This is going to get a
I
little more,
love it.
it's going to get a little more complicated. But you have several choices. One is, okay, well, they could be sons of Ishmael. That's one choice. They could be sons of Ishmael. Most likely not, because you can see here that with this psalm and with the discussion you see in Mark, Mashiach was out in the wilderness where the sons of Ishmael were. And when he comes back, these are not sons of Ishmael. Okay, well, who else is the son of Abraham? Esau.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Esau is not really pronounced Esau. It's pronounced Esau, right? Ein
Right.
Sin, Ein Sin Vav, Esau.
Mm-hmm.
And we're given Esau. That way we can disguise what the name is, right? But the real name is Esau. And Esau, it's written over and over again. Esau is Edom. Esau
Right.
is Edom, right? And Edom was at Mount Seir worshiping the Baphomet, worshiping this demon. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so these guys are likely the children of Esau, right? But what do we know about Esau? Well, we know this. The way it's written in Genesis is when Rivka becomes pregnant, it's described this way. 2 nations were in her womb. And when you look at that, Goyim, right? Sheni Goyim were in her womb. When you look at that word Goyim, you're not talking about just, like a political nation, right? One was from Wales, the other was from Scotland. No. 2 nations, 2 separate DNA.
Exactly. Which takes me back to the whole Mark 4 thing, about did an enemy plant this seed?
Answered yes.